Hello, welcome back to GOT. Today we're going to talk about the Samsung S26 Ultra and the S26 Plus. And I'm here to tell you they were right. In this video, we're going to take a close look at both of these. We're going to compare them to the previous models. Let's go. Here we go. Let's jump straight into it. Right here, you can see you have the S26 Ultra and the S25 Ultra over here. Then you have the S26 Plus. This is actually a S24 Plus because last year they didn't really do much for upgrades either, except get a little bit thinner. Now, when you look at these things, you can see real closely, it's real simple, that you got the island around the new ones and the older ones, no island. So that's a quick test to see which phone is what. So let's look at these things closely. When you look at the two of them, you've got the S26 here and the S25. As you can see, they're both pretty much the same size as far as the height and width. There's not much difference there. The only difference is the rounded curve on the corners, and you could barely tell. You could feel it, but if you look at those curves, one over the other, there's not a whole lot of difference, just a little bit more radius. Now on the outside, you still have the same buttons, so nothing's changed there. And then, of course, you have the SIM card down here at the bottom with the USB-C, and nothing's changed. It's the same as last year. They both have the S Pen, but here's the first change. Because of this curve, they've actually curved the S Pen on the S26 Ultra. So you can see the little angle there. So it only goes in one way. I'm sure you've seen this before. If you don't put it in the right way, then it just kind of sticks out. Where on the S25 Ultra, it's flat, and it doesn't matter which way you put it in. It holds in there. Will one fit in the other? Well, yes, you can put the S26 Ultra in the S25 because it's thinner, but you cannot do the reverse because the S25 Ultra is not as slim as the 26 Ultra. Now, did they do that to cut down on weight? Well, not really, because it doesn't really weigh any different. And then on the outside, you got the camera, of course, the camera island here versus no island. Is it thicker? Well, let's take a quick look at that here and see if I can set this up so you can see. Look on the overhead camera there. Is there any more thickness to the new one? It's really hard to tell. Put it on the front camera. And, these are taller on the S25 Ultra, a little bit slimmer here, but then you got the bump, which raises them up. So it's about the same. But what does that mean down here on the table? Same wobble, no change. Okay, so you still have the wobble. The look and feel, not much different, especially when you put them in a case. Is the S26 Ultra a little slimmer? Not really. They're about the same thickness. I think they claimed it got a little slimmer, and it may have gotten there, but you definitely don't feel it. Now let's jump into the inside, talk about that real quick. Okay, you have a 5,000 milliamp battery here. You got a 5,000 milliamp battery here. You have a 200 megapixel main shooter, 200 megapixel main shooter, 50 megapixel 5 times zoom, 50 megapixel 5 times zoom. You have a 50 megapixel ultra wide, 50 megapixel ultra wide. You have a 10 times zoom, which is 12 megapixels. Everything's sounding exactly the same because it actually is. Now, the only difference is on the main camera, they went to 1.4 versus 1.6 f-stop, which means it allows more light. But we'll look at some photos here and see if that really made a difference. Now, where there is a change is the charging. You have 45-watt charging here on the 25 and 60 on the 26 Ultra, a whole 15 watts. And then same thing with the wireless. You have 15-watt wireless charging here and 25-watt wireless charging here. So they improved the wireless a little bit, but they did not really improve the batteries. Now let's talk about the Plus real quick. You can see here the Plus, they are exactly the same. Is it thinner? Maybe. This is the S24, guys. Same phone. Okay? Same phone. Exactly the same phone. The difference is, again, this island around the cameras. But other than that, same cameras. You have a 50 megapixel main, 12 megapixel is 3 times zoom, and a 10 megapixel ultra wide. The battery and the Plus, they're both 49 milliamp hours. And then the charging is the same. Feeble. Well, no, in the Plus, it's a 45-watt charging, so that's not too bad. So 45-watt charging in both of them. And then the wireless is 15. Kind of pitiful there. So you don't get much change on that. So the difference in both of these on the upgrade is on the new phone, we have the Snapdragon 8 Gen Elite chip in it. So they did put the fastest chip in the new phone compared to this one, was just what, a Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. And then on the S26 or 25 Ultra, you have last year's 8 Gen Elite versus this year, the Elite 5. So let's get right into it. Let's see some comparisons. As far as performance-wise, I didn't feel anything different. Now, looking at these two, turn them on and fingerprint. There we go. See, they both perform the same. And you can see they both look pretty much the same. Well, that leans even more. I don't think you can see it, but this thing is up so high, it leans a whole lot more than the old one. That bump is a lot bigger. I have to take a moment and show you real quick. This is crazy. Look how much higher. That is huge. So it got worse with the island. So it might be a thinner phone, but oh my gosh, that bump is worse. So let's get back to the screens here. You can see they're pretty much the same. It was very easy to upgrade it. You just plug them into each other and have it transfer everything. Everything went smooth. Not a problem there. Samsung never has those issues. Now, looking at the two of them, they both function exactly the same. There's no difference. You can't feel it. So now we established the look and the feel and the performance seem pretty much the same on both of them. Let's take a look at the inside here. Look at the software here on both of them. You've got One UI 8 on the S25 Ultra, 8.5 on the S26 Ultra. So they have not upgraded the older one yet. But other than that, they're pretty much the same. Let's look at the storage here. The base storage is 256. Typically, they give you a bonus when you purchase and up double that. So last year, I got 512, you can see right here. And I have twice the storage on my S25 Ultra than the 26 at the same price. So right there at first, if you try to upgrade, well, you're actually going to downgrade unless you pay more money for the new phone. So that's the first contention. Now you can see they changed the software a little bit on 8.5 versus 8.0 here. You can see here that looks a little bit different. I kind of like the better, larger look here on the S25 Ultra. Of course, that'll change once they upgrade that to 8.5. But I do like it better than the new style here. Now, one of the big features, or the main feature this year that they talked a lot about, is, of course, the privacy screen. That's the big feature, is the privacy screen. Well, so let's take a quick look here at the screens. You can see they're pretty much the same. People said at an angle, the new one is not quite as bright, but I think they're about the same. And let's turn the full brightness up on these and do this again. Full brightness on both of them. And let's take another look at them. And as you can see, they're pretty much the same. Okay, the S25 Ultra right here is a little bit brighter, okay, at the angle. But who looks at their phones at this angle? So that's kind of a silly way to look at it. So looking straight on, are they just as bright as one another? I think there's a little bit more brightness in the S25 than there is in the S26, but not enough to really tell. I don't know if we zoom in on this 3D more, it's a little brighter white here, but I'm sitting here at an angle. If I look at them straight on, it's still just a tad bit brighter. I don't know if anybody can notice that, but it is a tad bit brighter. Now, while I'm here, I might as well point this out. You can see here, if you look at the battery percentage on both of these, I'm at 16% on the S25 Ultra, 33 on the S26 Ultra. I charged these up fully 2 days ago, actually, and I've been testing them both, doing all kinds of stuff you'll see here in this video, and I have not charged them since. And you can see that the S26 Ultra has a little bit more battery life. Why is that? They're the same size battery. It's a newer trip. Newer trip. It is a new trip. It's a newer chip with supposedly better performance and better optimization for the battery. But I think also, I've got a 1-year-old battery in my S25 Ultra, so people need to point that out when they compare them. Now, let's go ahead and turn on that screen protector. We might as well leave them at full brightness for now. Let's turn on that screen protector here. There's a couple ways to do it here. Is turn on privacy display. You can see it dimmed right away. Okay, it's not even on maximum here. So done, and go to the screen. It dimmed right away, but let's see if brightness is all the way up. Well, look at that. Well, I'm at an angle. You can't see it. That's right. So I dimmed it. Now, let's look at it at an angle here, and you can see how much dimmer it is. Okay, it is dimmer. Is it really private? Can you still see the stuff? I can still see the stuff. Maybe I can't make it out, but I can still see it. And then when you turn it straight, how do they look? Straight on, nearly as bright. I can see there's a little bit more dull. If you look at the 3D Mark, it's quite a bit duller. You're looking at half pixels, so it is quite a bit duller. Now, if you go to full on this thing, you can go here and you could do it maximum privacy. All right, there you go. Now it should look a little bit different. You can see it looks washed out. Look how washed out it looks. Okay, quite a bit difference if you put it on max. You get that washed out screen. And then, but if you slightly turn it, it definitely goes dark. Is it worth the upgrade? Only you can decide that. I'm gonna turn it off. But there's not a whole lot of difference. Matter of fact, I have is it this one? Yeah, I have the S25 or 24 Plus, and it has the privacy display on it. Check that out. I mean, right away it goes dark. Boom, it goes dark. Let's compare it. This is privacy screen on. This is a real privacy screen. And how are they looking? Let's see, let's brighten this one all the way. How are they looking straight on? About the same. And then when you turn them, who goes out first? About the same. The difference is, and that's the cool part about it, is you can turn it off on the S25 Ultra. But for 15 bucks, you can get a privacy screen on your phone. So that's enough about privacy screens. Let's talk about something that really matters to me, and that again is performance. Now this thing has the new Snapdragon Gen 5 in it versus the Elite chip from last year. Put them like I do with anything else. Now here I put them all side by side. I got the S26 Ultra, the S25 Ultra, and the S26 Plus. And you've seen my videos, I test them using one shot to render a video, and I did that on all three of them. And check this out, it's the same video. And as we go, you can see here, they're all starting out the same. It's look pretty good. Say, okay, it's about even. Matter of fact, it leaves the S25 Ultra behind, but then shortly after that, what happens? I believe the S26 Ultra with its 5 Gen Elite chip starts to throttle. Check it out. It's getting behind. And which one's taking off? It's unbelievable. The S26 Plus is the one that's taking off, and that's the one that actually wins this battle. That is crazy. And then right behind it is the S25 Ultra, and then the S26 Ultra is way behind. We're talking 25, 30% slower than the other two. Now, this is real world rendering. So this is real world use. Now, I think that the Snapdragon Gen 5 is designed for gamers. So if you're a gamer, it's supposed to sustain its level throughout the game and give you a consistent frame rate without overheating. Supposedly, that's what it's supposed to do. But how many people use it for game? How many people use it for real world stuff? I mean, I'd say that 98% of people will not use their phone to the point where they overheat. So what does that mean for me and you? We get the exact same performance out of either one of them. You might get a little bit more battery life out of the new phone, but that's because it's a new phone, new battery. Now let's literally flip these things over and go to the cameras. Let's test these cameras. When you put them side by side, and I did some daylight shots here, and I'll just run some through the screen here, and it's hard to tell which one is which. I know because I have that, pixel peeping perspective here on my display, that you get a little tiny bit more brightness in the S26 Ultra, but sometimes that's not a good thing because it washes things out. But between the two of them, there's still that Samsung dullness in the photo. What do I mean by that? Well, let's snap a real daytime shot right up against them. And you can see on the Honor Magic 8 Pro, look how much more colorful, much more clear this is. And this is zoomed in. And then let's utilize that 200 megapixel camera in the daytime. Let's zoom in. This is 10 times, supposedly using the 200 megapixel camera. I could be wrong, but on Ultras, they go up to 10 times with the 200 megapixel. But what do we know about that? Well, it actually crops them. It doesn't really zoom in. So look back at these again. You can see they both look fairly decent until you put up a real 200 megapixel zoom up against them. Now, check out how blurry they look and how dull they look. Now let's move on to night, do the same thing. The night shots, pretty much the same thing. I don't see a whole lot of difference, and they were really proud of this 1.4 f-stop on the new cameras, supposedly allowing more light, more detail. I don't see it, folks. I really don't see it. And then when you zoom in on these two things, again, they perform about the same. As a matter of fact, I think the 1.4 is hurting it here. You can see how it bleaches out this building a little more at night. You actually see more detail, I think, on the S25 Ultra. It's not quite as washed out or brightened. Then, of course, when you put in, a real 200 megapixel zoom lens in there, it just blows them away. It's not worth it. So now, folks, I spent a lot of time with both of these phones and comparing them, and actually comparing them to other phones. I've got another video comparing the S25 Ultra, to a bunch of different phones. And I'm just here to say there is really not a lot, virtually no difference. The only thing different is the hardware of the chip and a little bit faster charging, but you really don't notice a difference, I don't think. So now I'm going to give you my bottom line, and then I want to hear from you. Is it worth upgrading? Absolutely not. And the same story with the S26 Plus series phones as well. Not worth the upgrade. As a matter of fact, it's a net negative if you upgrade. What do I mean by that? Well, I've got 512 for the same price of last year's model to 256. I set it up that I'm doing an upgrade and trading in my older phones for the newer phones, but you know what? I'm not going to sacrifice that storage space. I'm going to keep the 512 versus the 256. It is absolutely not worth it. So they were right. Like I said in the beginning, those that said this was ridiculous, they were right. This is the worst upgrade in the history that I've ever had with Samsung or actually any other manufacturer. I don't know why I upgraded it. I guess I just had to prove things or show things to you guys, or to prove to myself, because I thought that this privacy screen thing and the processor was going to be a good bonus, but no. So for me, it's not worth downgrading your storage to upgrade your phone. Now it's time to hear from you. What do you think? Is Samsung really backed off on customer service or really improving their phones? Because I think they have. Now, if you're a Samsonite, and I don't mean a piece of luggage, I mean, if you're a Samsonite and you're going to upgrade regardless, well, it's still a great phone, because they're both great phones. But I'm telling you what, bang for your buck, it's not there with the S26 Ultra. And here I am wanting to hear from you, and I keep interjecting my thoughts. So go ahead, put your thoughts down in the comments below. I want to hear from you. And as you can tell on this channel, I give you my honest, personal thoughts and feelings. That's what these were in this video, and I don't fluff it. If you like that kind of content, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more content on not just these, but other phones as well. Until next time, have a wonderful day, and God bless.